moments where you're on fire, everything is going in.
Not like that. Not like that.
Well, you've had some.
No. We ain't never had a moment like that.
Now, when you're in the zone, LeBron, what is on your mind? Can you imagine what's going through Kobe's head in this moment?
He just made history. I just had one of those games.
Now, can you write? Now, this is Coach Sam Mitchell, Coach Alex English. What they're thinking? Yeah, what they're thinking.
The media right now inside Staples Center, we got to go to him. Kobe Bryant scored 81 tonight against the Raptors.
I feel pretty good. It hasn't really sank in yet, man. It's just we had 4 days off coming up here, and I've been sick as a dog if we lost this game. So I just wanted to step up and inspire us to play a better game, and it turned into something pretty special.
Kobe, going back to when you were a little kid, how far do we got to go to find that many points? Like elementary school, driveway with the dad, ever?
Never. Not even in my dreams. Not even in my dreams. And it was something that just kind of, it just happened, man. It just happened. It's tough to explain. It's just, I don't know. It's just one of those things.
One of the things we were all asking ourselves.
Moments where you're on fire, everything is going in.
Not like that. Not like that.
Well, you've had some.
No. We ain't never had a moment like that.
Now, when you're in the zone, LeBron, what is on your mind? Can you imagine what's going through Kobe's head in this moment?
He just made history. I just had one of those games.
Now, can you write? Now, this is Coach Sam Mitchell, Coach Alex English. What they're thinking? Yeah, what they're thinking. Now, Kobe, you made a lot of people happy that night. Can you circle the happiest fan here in Los Angeles? Find the happiest person. Why is Kwame Brown the happiest person?
Boy, he's ecstatic, man.
He looks like he's having a great time.
Kobe Bryant's 81-point outburst last night against the helpless Toronto Raptors was the second highest point total in NBA history, and it was more than Michael Jordan ever scored in a single game. Kobe still has a way to go to catch Wilt Chamberlain's NBA record of 100 points in a single game, but he smashed Elgin Baylor's Lakers record of 71 points, which was set against the New York Knicks in 1960. Let me say this. Is there any question at all right now who the best guard in the game is? Anybody with sense should know Kobe's the man right now. Make absolutely no mistake about it. He is unstoppable. And he's reestablishing himself the way that you should. He's showing himself. The man is fixated on basketball. He is dominating in every facet of the game. And I'm going to put it to y'all this way. I spoke to Coach Sam Mitchell of the Toronto Raptors earlier today. Here's what he told me. Steve, we doubled him. We trapped him when he got past half court. Couple of times we triple teamed him. We played the box and one, which you don't use unless you're in college. He said, Steve, I did everything but mug that boy. And still, this man dropped 81 points in us. It's the most phenomenal performance that I've ever seen. And then when I asked Sam Mitchell, how would you compare him to Michael Jordan, especially if he ends up winning a championship? He said, first of all, I wouldn't bet against Kobe winning the championship in the next 5 years. And secondly, and more importantly, he's got 3 rings already, and he's fixated on a game in ways that these guys today don't even know how to be. He plays on both ends of the floor. Not only did he drop 81 points, he was sticking my best guard and shut him down. End of discussion. I won't hear any more about it. Now, I can ask about Kobe and his greatness. We're not debating that this boy is great right now. We're going to debate how he compares to other greats in history, but we're not debating his greatness anymore. He's the man right now, plain and simple. For more than 3 decades, Sonny Hill has been a Philadelphia basketball insider whose relationships range from ties to Kobe and his family to a close friendship with NBA legend Wilt Chamberlain. Sonny, who serves as an executive advisor to the Philadelphia 76ers, joins me right now from the city of brotherly love. Sonny, you saw Wilt score 100 points and Kobe score 81. How is Kobe Bryant comparing with the league's all-time great players?
Right now, he's in the top 4 of the pantheon of great players. what people don't understand, Kobe is not playing against the players of this era. Kobe is playing against the legends of the game. So when you now talk about Kobe Bryant, you now have to talk about him in the same terminology as you would with the Big Dipper, with Elgin Baylor, with Michael Jordan, and he's right in that group. So that is a select group that only the four of them can even talk about, simply because Kobe has visited the 60-plus number as well as the big 81 that he put up.
Sonny, a lot of people don't realize how many games you show up. You practically live at the arenas. You watch all of these games. You're practically at every Philadelphia 76ers home game, walking around and everything else. People talking, whether it's Allen Iverson, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, or people of today's era, that some of them compare are even better than Kobe Bryant. Are you saying that Kobe Bryant is better than all of those guys?
Right now, he would have to be at the top of the list because the other players don't get into that big four. When you're talking big four of scoring and really being offensive players in the history of the NBA, you have to talk about the big four that I just talked about, and Kobe's one of the big four.
What makes Kobe so great as a basketball player in your estimation?
Well, there's a couple things. First off, it's his inner drive, as I said to you, and this is something that nobody else knows because Kobe and I shared this a few years ago. He wants to be one of the great players of all time. Not a great player in this era, but one of the great players of all time. The other thing that separates him from so many other players is he's got the Philadelphia game. You know what that is?
No, I don't. Tell me.
The Philadelphia game is the pull-up jump shot, baby. You know, like you put it on the floor and then you say, oh, no. And then you shoot the three-point and you say, hey, hey. And then when you run up on me, right to the hoop ski and do what Dip did all the time. Tomahawk in your face. And then look at you and say, where am I from? Philadelphia.
All right, Sonny. Okay.
On his back and carried him. And, you know, if you saw the end of that, you saw how cool and calm this guy was as he was stroking this basketball. Amazing.
For me, it's unimaginable. I never thought I would ever see a guy really even get over 70 again, much less 81 points. And unimaginable for several reasons. Number one, I never thought there would be a team defensively that would ever allow one guy to get 81 points, no matter what you would have to do to try to prevent something like that from happening, prevent that kind of embarrassment to your team. Secondly, it's hard to find a group of teammates that be that willing in today's day and age to sacrifice for a guy like Kobe Bryant to make sure he got a shot every time he had a floor. So for me, I just never thought I'd see it.
We're all saying the same thing, just using a different word. Mine is mind-blowing. Because if you look at it currently, no, it's hyphenated, hyphenated. Currently or historically, if you look at defenses today, you look at the technology that's used, you look at the fact that athletes are so much stronger and longer, that they've closed up the court, that he would get 81, that he would do it shooting 61%. He said it himself. It was unimaginable for him. I'm not sure I quite believe that, because if you can score 62 in 33 minutes, you got to believe that you can be looking at 80 if you play a full game. But that said, nobody saw this coming. We thought 55, 60, 62 points, that was going to be the standard. He is raised. Now Allen Iverson can go out and get 55, and everybody's not going to blink because you got 81 as the standard now.
Well, he got 55 in the second half of the game, as you said. As it would come, that kind of an opportunity this close to having 62 points. And I'll tell you what, right now, don't be surprised if he's laying there saying, well, I missed 18 shots. And I only played 41 minutes. So is 90 impossible? And once you get to 90, is 101 there within my reach? Kobe Bryant, I think, believes that he is that good that he can continue to do it.
Well, first of all, he is that good. And I think that's the one thing that greatness gives you that people just don't comprehend. You know what? There is no boundary to greatness. It can accomplish anything. Records are, in essence, made to be broken when you have the greatness of a Kobe Bryant, a Michael Jordan, a Wilt Chamberlain. You know what? I'm so tired of people riding this guy, because if Michael Jordan had scored 81 points, no one would have said he's selfish. They would have just applauded the beauty of what this guy was able to accomplish. And remember, he did it in a game where his team was down 18 points. He wasn't trying to run the score up. This guy was out there trying to win and doing whatever it took for that team to win. And everybody all over the country, all the media types continue to try to ride this guy and bash him and say he's selfish, this, that, and the other. If anything, he does try to self-will it, much like Michael Jordan did early in his career when he was given the mantle of carrying that team until he got his sidekick. So give this guy his due. He's a phenomenal talent, one of which we may not ever see again. Let's give him his due and just appreciate the greatness of his performance.
Well, I'll tell you one group, though, that will again. And is there a danger in this? Now, I watched this game, and I've never been amazed to see a player do what Kobe Bryant did on that night. But is there a danger for the rest of the Lakers to start standing around and saying, let Kobe do it, and he's not going to be able to do it every night?
There's certainly that danger, but what makes Kobe unique, and this is sort of follow-up on what Legs and Greg are saying, is that, yeah, you could run a double at him, but the problem with Kobe Bryant is there is no place on the floor that he can't score from. There are certain guys that were great scorers. They needed to get in their wheelhouse. You can't define that with Kobe Bryant. And if you're going to pick him up at 28 feet, he will give the ball to Sasha Vujacic, and then he's going to split that double team and cut to the basket, and he's going to get the ball back, and then he's going to throw it down on somebody. That is what makes him so dangerous, combined with the fact that he is in the triangle. You can't set up plays where your team can structurally anticipate this is where he's going to get the ball, this is where he's going to be scoring from. It's all made up along the way by Kobe Bryant, and he's demonstrated that when it comes to creativity, he's as good as it comes, and that's what it's going to make it difficult for anybody. He scored 62 against Dallas. Certainly everybody in the league should have been on alert what he was capable of doing. Toronto, you name anybody else, they are going to have problems if he decides to go after it again.
All right, Rick, thanks a lot. A quick question for you guys. You're too young to remember the 100 points of Wilt Chamberlain, but knowing what you know about the game, which was tougher, Wilt's 100 or Kobe's 81?
I don't think there's any question Kobe's 81. I think, strictly for me, not only the fact that the competition level, Wilt Chamberlain was obviously a giant for his era, but also the fact that he was not a perimeter player. The amount of energy that you have to expend that Kobe Bryant did in that game to be able to handle the ball, make decisions, make plays, and really have to do it from 30 feet out on the floor and create for yourself, to me, is a much more difficult accomplishment getting 81 in today's day and age than it was for Wilt Chamberlain back then.
Well, I think the difference is, remember, when Wilt, and having talked a lot of historians about this, when Wilt Chamberlain got his, that was the mission going into the game. The entire team was focused on getting him that, and also physically, Wilt Chamberlain was unmatched by anybody during his era. There was nobody who could physically match up. There are a lot of guys who have Kobe Bryant's athletic and physical ability. They just don't have his talent and his will and desire. So I would actually have to give him the edge too. Initially, I gave it to Wilt when I first thought about it. But in retrospect, I'd have to say what Kobe accomplished was pretty amazing.
I went to the basket before the double team came and try to draw some fouls.
What does it mean to you to break Elgin Baylor's record and hold the Laker record with all those great players all the time?
You know, it's such a blessing, you know, to play for this organization that's had so many great players, some of the greatest players to ever play the game. And, you know, it was more special to me than even the game itself. Was talking to Magic after the game. You know, that meant more to me than the game itself, you know, because I idolized him as a kid. And, you know, for him to call me and tell me what a great game it was and how proud of me, you know, he is, that meant more to me than the 81 points. That felt really, really good, man.
You know, Phil said the night after the Phoenix.
My mentality.
Kobe, as hot as you were in the third quarter, was there a point where you looked up and said, at 56, or at what point did you know you're on a tear and wanted to continue?
I think it was Lamar who whispered to me, he said, you can't get 60. Like, 60? Oh, shit. So that's when it kind of, you know, set in a little bit. Yeah.
Did you feel the crowd? They were taking cell phone pictures, or they were standing at the end?
Yeah, you know, and I feed off of that, you know. And the crowd gets into it, you know, especially here in LA. You know, we're kind of, you know, going from the bottom to the top all together. And so it's important for us to enjoy the journey, and that's what we're doing right now. We're on a journey, and you know, to put on a show like this for the fans here here in LA is truly something special. You know, I grew up in front of these people, and now they're seeing me as an older young man.
You walked off the court, your daughter, was that just another shoulder ride for her? She have any idea what Daddy did tonight?
She said, Daddy, they poke in your eye? I said, yeah, Mama. She said, are you okay? I said, yeah. She said, be careful, Daddy. I said, all right, I'll be careful. Then she started smacking me in the head.
So what does this mean to you? I mean, 81 points, nobody's ever scored more than that except for Wilt on one night.
I don't know, man. It's just, it really hasn't, like set in. It's, for me, it's about the W. And, that's why I turned it on, because I felt like we were a little lethargic. So I just started going full bore, and it just turned into something special. And I wanted to keep riding the wave to try to demoralize our opponents, and it just turned into this. But to sit here and say that I grasp, what happened tonight, I'd be lying, man. I really hasn't sank in.
There weren't many huddle situations in the second half, not a lot of timeouts called, but once you got on your roll, was there any conversation in the huddle other than just get the ball to Kobe?
Hey, Jay's gonna give you a pass today, man. I know you don't want.
We'll catch you on countdown. I'll catch you on countdown, though.
Can you guys explain from a player's perspective, when you hear that Kobe Bryant dropped 81 in an NBA game in this era, by the way, not the crazy Wilt Pace era, but in the era that he did it in, what does this mean to guys who played the game?
I mean, it's unthinkable. Let me tell you, I was sitting in my basement in Boston playing dominoes with a couple of my friends. The Laker game was on, and I kid you not, he was at 50, and I was like, oh, that's Kobe going off. When he got to 50, he was like, oh, that's just one of those days, 60. And then he got to 70. You're in the middle bones. The TV is playing. You kind of watching.
Yeah.
Then it's like, he's at 70, and I turn around, we stopped playing dominoes. We're like, hold on, what is going on here? He got what? And then we saw him score those last 10 points, and we was like, what did we just watch right here? Because we're in the middle of a domino. It was just like, wait a minute, did we just hear this right? Those are numbers as a kid that you score on the video game.
Right.
Like when you just use one player to score all the points, and this actually happened. This is something while I played the game of basketball, I thought I would never see in an NBA game with my own eyes.
And it's not like we've seen it since.
No.
Well, I was in Boston. Just so happened I wasn't in the basement with P at Club Shiznix that night, but I was at the house in my one-bedroom apartment. I had just left the gym for my night workout because, I was still trying to earn minutes at the time. And I get back, and somebody sent me a text was like, man, Kobe's going off. I'm like, let me hurry up and get to the crib. So I hurry up and get home. First of all, I'm a guy that I was excited when I scored 10 points.
Right.
So when I got home and I was able to see, and I was sitting there watching, I'm like, man, it's unreal. And it wasn't just all three balls. It was from every aspect of the court. It was layup game, fadeaway game, whatever it was, he was out there serving them boys, and that's why I think Jalen, I know you don't want to be here, man. You my big bro.
Jalen will be on ESPN later today, so we'll get him.
I see him later on tonight, but man, Rachel, you look at this and it was like, it's unreal. I mean, it was probably the best performance I done seen regular season wise since I've been in the NBA.
Again, there hasn't been anything like it. I do want to speak in your guys' defense.
42 minutes in the game.
Right.
48 minutes in the game. So per minute, what is that?
And he didn't play all 48 in that one, although there are games he played all 48 in. I just want to speak in your guys' defense. The most Kobe ever dropped on the two of you, 43 points. So it wasn't that bad.
But it was more than a few times.
Tomorrow morning, make some breakfast, sit back, chill, watch some cartoons, do that whole thing.
So, cartoon?
Tom and Jerry, man.
Kobe, is it true that you promised someone you'd help them with their bath later on?
Yeah. Oh, shit. You waiting for your bath? Yeah, my daughter wants a bath tonight, so she wants to go swimming. Okay, you ready to go? Okay, let's go. All right. Let's go, Mama.
And how fitting that the little one would come in and end the festivities. Sitting there listening to Kobe Bryant, he seemed genuinely in awe of himself tonight in his accomplishment, not being able to put it into perspective what it means to not only him, but also to the league.
Yeah, no, it's strange. I talked to Kobe quite a bit about this the other day. I was asking him, I said, do you ever sit back and just look at the performances you put out there, like you're 62, you're 81, and do you shock yourself? And he says, when I'm playing like that, I don't even realize it. I'm in the moment, and I look back at it later and say, wow, did I really do that?
I think a lot of people have said wow a few thousand times tonight.
Magical and legendary.
Go. Sam. I mean stamped. But Sale.
Ball, yeah, we ball 24, 8, 8, 24, yeah, we just ball. Flight number 8 with the 4, and I'm 24 when he was ball. 24, 8, 8, 24, yeah, just ball, we just ball. 24, 8, 8, 24, yeah, just ball, we just ball. Job not finished, job not done, so just ball, we just ball. 24, 8, 8, 24, yeah, we just ball, just ball.
Why did they kill my man Kobe? It changed the vibe. If you're not on my side, then I swear you phony. Working all 24, I'll let you get caught in the moment. 24 hours, I'm growing. GG died way too young, man, I'm known. If Kobe changed your life, you didn't have to say nothing, you showed it. I'm going out like Bean, I'm leaving, every record just broken.